Okay, wow. Today has been a very, very long day, and I have not eaten once. Therefore, this will be very short. Today, I want to talk about achieving. And by achieving, I mean goals. What goals does a person set? And why do we set goals in our lives? For what reason? I'm going to mainly speak from personal experience in this case. What I can tell is that setting personal goals does help with self-improvement, but mostly with self-esteem. Sometimes I ask myself, why do people not set themselves some goals? Because there are people who don't. And the reason I ask myself that question is the main reason why I'm actually here today is because I've set some goals in my life. I have dreams. I want to get somewhere, someday, somehow. And in some way, it makes also the journey a little bit more interesting, more rewarding, if you know what I mean. So let's start from the very beginning. How can a person set a goal? Because there is a process to it most of the times. There are various type of processes that bring you to choose a certain type of goal, but in my case, what I asked myself is, what do I like? What do I know how to do best? And I had two things in my case that I knew how to do. The first one was play. I can play the violin decently well. But the second thing was, I loved talking. And most people that knew me, most of the times reminded me of how much I would love to talk and debate. So I tried the first one. I tried violin, and I still am doing it. But then I realized, why not try both? Why try not both paths? Do violin and talk. Start a podcast. And that was the moment in my life where I kind of realized that I could achieve some things in time. And the possibility of achievement, or better, the types of achievements that a person can get to in life are enormous, are countless. But there are two problems, two obstacles in this case. The first one is realizing it. It takes time and energy to realize that you want to take a path. And most of the times, you're not even going to be sure if that is your definitive path, like in my case. The second thing is your odds. What are the odds of you achieving that dream? Because you can achieve anything, but you gotta be realistic. I can't become the president of the United States. I wasn't born in the United States. I might be an amazing politician, I might know a gazillion languages, I might have 1,000 contacts, but I'll never be the president of the United States. And that example is quite clear, because most of the times your potential is so big, but the odds of you making it are so slim that, there's no reason in trying to continue and pursue that path. But let's go back for a second. Let's ask ourselves, what are we good at? What do I love doing? And what am I good at doing? Because they're two very different things. I am good working with an audience, I think, or at least I try. And I love sharing thoughts and experiences with people or emotions through music. So that's where you then manage to set a goal. A goal in which you decide to achieve a certain specific thing in a given time. And that time might be decided by you or by other factors around you. My example is that I need to find a way to stay in the United States after my remaining 2 years of undergrad, because otherwise I have to go back to Italy. And as much as I like that country, it's not for me. So my goal is, within these 2 years, find something that can actually keep me here legally. So that is based out of necessity. I don't choose how much time I have. my choice of actions are going to be based on a situation that I cannot control. Time. On the other hand, though, I like thinking in decades sometimes. I gave myself 10 years from last year, which is now 9 years, to achieve a certain status in the industry of podcasting. And as much as that might seem very ambitious, 10 years is a lot of time. In 10 years, I might be dead, but it feels so liberating to think that in 10 years, if I work hard enough, if I put my entire self into this project, I will achieve what countless other people have achieved in even less time. Another question is, am I special? Is the goal that I'm setting for myself in line with the person that I am? Does it vibrate in the same frequency? How special is that dream? My dream is to help people, to make them feel like they're listened to and included through my stories or through the stories of others, hoping to inspire. And that starts from a dream. And I believe it's a very special thing because it is the least selfish thing that I managed to come up with in 21 years of my life. I'm a pretty selfish person myself, but this podcast is probably the only thing in my life that is aimed to someone else but me. And I guess another very important factor in setting goals in life is how much do you want it? A lot of people, including myself, have started countless and thousands of different projects and never got to the bottom of them. And as much as I think that it was meant to end quicker than other projects, I also believe that that should be seen as an exercise. There's this saying which goes, "You're one broken heart closer to the love of your life." And I think it can be also put into this type of topic, goals, life goals, achievements. Because most people don't realize that most of our dreams, most of our projects that are aimed to achieve our dreams, most of these are probably not going to survive. And we need to strive, we need to go in survival mode to always find the next version of our dream. And that pushes us to dream bigger. It's a toxic rabbit hole, but a good one, in which you start with an idea, you make it concrete, you make it real. It doesn't work. Then you sit back, you let some time pass, you let yourself regain confidence, and then you rethink it, and you're like, if I've done this different, probably it would have worked. So let's do this other thing. Very similar, keeping in mind all the mistakes that I did in my previous experience. And believe it or not, experience number 2 is going to get a little bit further. Maybe you are also going to have to abort that project, but you got a little bit further. And every time you add a new dream, a new expectation, a new goal, you always manage to get something extra done from the previous experience. And that serves as I said, as an exercise. Because the moment the real idea comes out, because you also got to teach yourself to dream, to imagine. So the moment your brain, your hamster wheel starts spinning, you come up with this really good idea, and you've learned through your previous ideas and previous experiences what works and what doesn't work. How do I present this idea to the other people? Do I need help from others? Can I do it by myself? If I have to do it by myself, what do I need? Financially, am I able to support this idea or not? All these questions that one asks themselves. Is it possible? Can I do this? Can I achieve it? All these questions bring to one answer, and that is always go for it. Never let your dream fall because the previous one didn't work. And this brings me to the second really important topic of the day, which is very well connected to the topic of setting goals, and that is getting comfortable with failure. And as a musician, as a classical violinist, I think I can give a very good insight regarding the failure aspect in one's career or in one's life. See, a lot of us see failure as a pushback, as a setback, as a moment where you have to fall into a depression, a moment in which you are considered lesser than, or a moment where you simply fail and you have to redo the whole thing all over. But if there's one thing that I've learned by auditioning is that most of the times, the external reasons that bring you to fail aren't even that personal, aren't even aimed at you. So people who are in the acting industry, musicians, models, they understand it very well. They didn't choose you, they didn't cast you, they didn't hire you in that orchestra because you weren't enough, but maybe simply because you weren't what they were looking for. And that gives failure a different perspective. You see failure, in this case, as an opportunity to say, what can I do better so that the next experience I can do better? I can go higher, maybe just a little bit higher. I repeat, maybe it will still be a failure. Maybe I will still have to abort that mission, but at least I got slightly more over the limit of last time. And that eventually helps you to get into this loop, into this dimension of hardworking people that never stop looking forward. I think it was Denzel Washington who once said, "Never fall backwards, fall forward." And the reason is, if you fall forward, you see where you're falling. If you fall backwards, you lose the conception of what's going on. You lose your balance. But if you fall forward, at least you're in the correct direction. All you gotta do if you fall forward is get up and go straight. If you fall backwards, a little bit more difficult. Taking the opportunity to learn from a failure is probably the most important thing that we as people with goals, as people with careers, need to learn. Also, a very common misconception of what is a goal to some people is that they think that by setting a goal, all you have to do is just live your life and eventually it will happen. But as I said previously, there is a process to not only setting a goal, but also achieving it. A lot of people forget that it's a list of things to get done. That's a goal. This list then has a product, and that product can also be seen as part of the goal, but the actual goal is the process of getting there. That's the fun part. Not the getting there directly. There's obviously this other very famous saying that says, Rome wasn't built in one day. What was the goal? Building Rome. The action of actually building it must have been way more exciting than just snapping your finger and seeing Rome completely built. And that works perfectly to what I'm trying to say. You want to get that very special role in that Broadway show? You want to get that really important position in the orchestra? You want to become the next celebrity? You want to become the most listened podcast on the internet? You gotta set yourself a list. That is the most important part of the entirety of the goal. I think is a good 90% of it. And 10% of it is only the achievement, the final part. And how do we set this list, you might ask? Apart from the questions that one should ask themselves, is it worth it? Is it realistic enough? Can I financially make it happen? If not, how can I work my way around it? All these technical questions. But apart from that, one can also set some levels. And every next level in that little list of achievements will then bring you to the final goal, if you will. For example, I can't financially buy a lot of things. I am financially not well set, which means that in order to get what I need to get this podcast running will require time. And that means organizing my expenses throughout the months so that by the end of my first semester here in America, I'm able to buy a certain list of things that are important to my project. See what happened there? I was organizing the months. I was organizing my finances. I was organizing where to put my energy. Do I go to the gym or do I pay for my food so that I could put aside some money to therefore buy a microphone? And that thinking, that critical thinking, is that list. It doesn't have to be a list from A to Z, but it also shouldn't be just setting a goal. By the time I'm 30, I want to become a millionaire. All right, what do you need to do to become a millionaire in 10 years? Is it drop shipping? Is it creating your own startup? Is it becoming a broker? What is going to bring you to achieve that $1 million by that specific date? Because otherwise, it just won't happen. You can't just hope for it to happen. I also ask myself, why do some people, don't set goals? I know people that don't necessarily feel the need to set a goal. And that makes me think a lot. Setting a goal is exciting. It's something beautiful. And there are people who don't do that. There are people who think that living life just as it is enough. Survival mode. And, also being in your comfort zone is being in survival mode. So the moment you get out of your comfort zone is the moment that I think you're able to set a goal. Therefore, the people who don't set a goal are usually comfortable where they are, in their little comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone, because then you're going to start experiencing the real deal. You're going to start experiencing that urge to achieve something, whatever that thing might be. I spoke not too long ago with Mimi Carball. I think it was episode 8 or 9, in which we said we look up to people. That is also a form of a goal. You look up to a person, you're like, one day I'll be like that, or I wish I were this person, right? And what these people don't realize is that the people they look up to are humans, just like us, in flesh and blood. The only difference is that they got out of their comfort zone and they made shit happen. That is what I'm also trying to say here. The people you look up to, the lifestyle you look up to, or the dream you want to achieve isn't far away. It's just in the future. Could be in the near future, could be in the far away future. That depends on you. So it's very healthy sometimes to set a goal, also to get out of your comfort zone. It can be a therapeutical way to actually convince yourself to get out of your comfort zone. That could be a goal itself. It doesn't have to be anything special. It doesn't have to be becoming the next Jeff Bezos or the next Mark Zuckerberg. Sometimes life is already hard as it is, and I get that, but that does not mean that we should accept the situation that we find ourselves in just because we get to the end of the day alive. I think the moment we understand that we could set a goal of getting out of that bubble, we then are able to achieve so much more because we have so much less to lose. In my case, I have dreams, I have hopes, I have goals. Does that mean I will achieve all of them? Probably not. I hope I will, but it is up to me. And it is also up to the situation that I put myself into, the environment that I grow around me, the people that I let close to me, and the people that I ask to stay away from me. That is what then brings you to set the right types of goals in life. That is what then will prompt you to say, I'm doing the right thing because this will eventually bring me to achieve that one thing that I set as a goal 2 years ago, and that will hopefully become true in 5. And trust me, I was the most introverted person when it came to putting yourself out there, getting comfortable in front of a camera, learning how to improvise sometimes, writing scripts. All these things are part of the process of a goal. And again, that might mean sometimes to fail, not create the right amount of content, not create the right type of content, or maybe you're just not able in that moment to deliver the way that you would want to. But the key word to all of this, to any type of goal, of dream one might have, I think from a technical point of view, I think is consistency. Whatever you do, just do it. Don't overthink it, just do it. Do it on a weekly basis. Let people know that you are going to come back every week so they know that they have that on every Friday, on every Monday. Whatever your dream might be, give yourself a rhythm of life. Whatever that rhythm might be. Could be sleeping longer. Could be doing less homework. Trying to find a job that requires less energy. And also learn to be vulnerable. Because vulnerability is one of the most important keys that will then open a lot of doors. People like to see vulnerable people, and there are various reasons to that. There could be darker reasons, unfortunately, but also brighter reasons. It is scientifically proven that most of the people who show empathy, who show their feelings to other people, most of the times the other people will feel more inclined to listen to you, to give you their experience and to help you out. Whereas if you don't open up, it is also hard for the other party to say, I don't even know if I have any interests in you. Make yourself interesting by making yourself real, by making yourself honest, especially with yourself. Are you in that comfort zone? Do you feel too comfortable? I was talking with a really great friend of mine in Italy who has amazing potential, but who still hasn't found the right moment to get himself out there. And I was trying to explain to him that the fear of judgment arrives only until a certain point, because the moment you get out of that comfort zone, you kind of stop caring. If people think you're being awkward, if people think you're being weird, let them. If people write terrible comments, stop writing them comments. It's as simple as that. How much do you care about what you're doing? And especially, are you going to let someone else stop you from achieving that project, that goal? I think that's food for thought. And I am terribly tired, so I will go eat dinner, and I will then fall into a very deep coma on this very bed.